Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Lillian coming with another video. Yes, we are back. The last video we did, we were talking about when things happen to you and how to deal with, disappointment and everything. And the general consensus was we need to accept what we have to accept. Today, we're talking about deciding, okay? We're deciding, how we want our lives to go, the trajectory of everything that's to come, right? Obviously, we can't control everything, but I do believe that if you don't plan, right? If you fail to plan, then you plan to fail, right? So you need to have like a rough draft of some type of a plan that you want for yourself. I feel like when we're facing, heartbreak and disappointment, it's hard for us to see beyond that, to see the future, right? It's very hard because you're just so wrapped up. And so that's why we have to take that time for ourselves to really get into, right? And I'm speaking from experience, right? So I took a couple of days off or whatever. I'm still posting my shorts, right? Because I have people that are helping me with my channel, like I said. But I was like, I don't know, like I just fell into like this little vibe or whatever. And I'm like, I'm making these videos or whatever, and I want to inspire other people, motivate people and things like that. And I do my videos live. We don't edit, right? Okay. So, but it's just like we're talking to the air, and like, what if we're not helping people? And like, what if what we're doing is like a waste of time or whatever? And so I was just having them thoughts, those intruding thoughts. They be popping up, girl. They be popping up. And I got a text from my cousin, right? And one day we'll share his testimony when he feel up to it and everything like that. But since the beginning of the year, like really just pouring into him and just helping him out or whatever, with just words of encouragement, right? And then we get a success call, right? A success call, like, thank you so much for everything you said to me. Like, you really imparted wisdom into me. You like, you know what I mean? Like all the things that I do for like people in my family or just people I work with or whatever, like to get like a thank you. Cause I ain't gonna lie, sometimes I do be giving unsolicited advice. I do. But sometimes, people really do be coming to me and I really do be helping people or whatever. And my advice always be hidden or whatever. So I was just like, dang, imagine if we could do that like on a larger scale, right? Really helping the people that are asking for advice, you know what I mean? And it's crazy because people have sent me questions and I've helped people or whatever, like getting a job or whatever the case may be. And so I still get those intruding, thoughts or whatever, like, what if we fail? What if we, you know what I mean? And I feel like the best advice comes from experience, because if you never experienced pain, disappointment, failing, then you can't relate to other people that are going through the same thing. So you really can't help somebody because you don't identify with that. So how can you help someone, right? But I have experienced that and I know what certain things feel like or whatever. And so it was a moment for me or whatever, like to get a success call, to get someone to say like, oh, you really helped me, you really, so keep doing what you're doing, right? It's like, girl, you over here worried about things not working, look at things working, look at, so it's just kind of like the first step is always deciding. And I tell this to anybody, you have to decide how your life is going to go. I feel like with social media, the kids, they have it's a little harder for them because it seems like the algorithm is already, kind of written. The code is already written for them, right? The code is written. Y'all, I don't know where these fruit flies are coming from, but it's really distracting. Okay, it is really distracting me, but I'm gonna keep going. I just, if you see me looking around, that's what I'm looking at. But anyway, I was like, where did they come from? Anyway, so the kids, they have it harder, right? Because everything is just on autopilot for them, right? Everything is on autopilot. Like you have so many different messages. Even when I see it, when I might be going to Instagram or TikTok, just looking, because I'm trying to look and find a brown lipstick, right? And it's like, you can't even start searching for what you want to search for, right? And you are already bombarded with all these different different messages as soon as you open the app. And it's like, dang, I can't even search the way I want to search on the app or whatever without getting all of these different things, and you sucked in and you forget why you was even on there in the first place. Like, I forgot what I was looking for, you see. And so the kids have to deal with it from jump. So their attention spans are like mush. It's just crazy. You see what I'm saying? So fighting that, when I was younger, I had to fight against, older adults, right? Older adults and people who had already lived life, and that's how life was for them, right? I knew I wanted to be on the radio. I knew I wanted to do something in the media, right? And what I wanted to do, this currently did not exist. Right? It did not exist. And so it's just kind of like, the radio, my mom was like, radio don't pay and everything like that. But then I have like my dad, he is complete opposite. My mom is just very stability minded, right? Versus my dad is like very like a vagabond. Like, he's talking about doing van life, So two completely different spectrums, and I'm just kind of somewhere in the middle. And so you have to fight against just those things. And I feel like that's a little easier if you're a rebel, but everybody is not a rebel. I talked about it in my previous videos. We oftentimes don't make choices and decisions that we feel like we should make simply because of what other people might have to say. We don't make the decisions. We don't, go out on a limb because we're afraid of perception and what other people think. And I feel like the sooner we get rid of external validation, the sooner we can start living for ourselves and making choices for ourselves without prying eyes and different things like that. So some people go ghost on social media. Some people do whatever, and just don't tell anybody. And that is completely fine. But you have to make the choice. You have to decide. And the decision happens after you have faced some type of discomfort, transformation, energy or whatever. And so with deciding, you move from being a victim, right, to being an owner, like a ownership, taking responsibility of the things that happen to you. No, it's not your fault, right? No, it's not your fault. But you can't live in that energy forever, right? Because if you do, you oftentimes see people who make their problems their identity, so less about who they are and more about what they've been through and how that has shaped them, but not how they have changed for the better. When you see people experience success, I experienced this, but I moved beyond that. And this is the growth that has been achieved based off of me doing something else. Some people, they play the same story over and over and over again, right? And it's just like, woe is me type energy. I don't want to think, like, I do think of one celebrity, but I don't want to bring it up because I do feel like her issue is, it's real, but at the same time, like, I love Monique, but it's just like, we gotta move on. We got to. You see what I'm saying? Like, it becomes like your career becomes more about the problems, or even like certain rap beefs or whatever. You know more about somebody having beef with somebody than you know about the art that they're producing, you see. So it's just like, we have to do better about cultivating some type of growth mindset. Who are we going to be after the fact? Okay. Who are we going to be after the fact? Who are we going to, like, what ownership, what accountability can we take moving forward? Okay. And so we have to make the choice. We have to make the decision. But the choices and decisions happen after we have reflected and healed and everything like that. Because if you don't heal, you'll never get out of that funk. Okay. And the best way to get out the funk is to experience the funk. Okay. All right. The next thing, we have to get over the fear of starting over. Okay. Some people, they stay in relationships because they want to stay in relationships forever. Things didn't happen. They're afraid to get back into the dating scene. They don't want to, and I ain't gonna lie, the dating scene is crazy, right? But the other thing is, what's wrong with being alone? You see what I'm saying? Being afraid to be alone. What's the worst thing that can happen to you being alone? You get to know yourself. You get to experience yourself. You get to, really grow into yourself, and people get to experience this new version of you in your authenticity, not a version of you that is trying to go along to get along, right? So it's not always about a relationship, all right? And I feel like that's something, you know, we have to work on that. That's that self-love thing that we have to work on, where we feel like our entire identity is based off of being desired. Okay, like we exist for desirability, and that's not necessarily the case either, right? We exist for ourselves. Now, if they desire it, okay, good for you, but it's for me. You know, we do this for us. This is for everybody. Know that, you know, everybody know that Rasputia is fine. That's why we do this, right? Other thing is, we talked about being judged, but we're afraid of failing again, right? We failed and now we're afraid of failing again. It created some type of scarcity, like, oh, because this didn't happen, nothing else is going to happen again, right? And that's not the case either. I'm sure there are other things that we found success with, and we have to pull from there. And even then, it's like you have to go through the no's to get to the yes. Okay, all the most successful people, they love no's, because they know after I'm getting closer and closer to a yes, somebody is going to say yes, somebody is going to approve, the door is going to open. It's okay, I'm getting closer and closer. And so you have to reframe it, not from being like, oh, this didn't happen, so nothing is going to ever happen for me. No, you move from nothing ever is going to happen, I'm that much closer to something happening for me. I'm that much closer to my breakthrough. I'm that much closer to having whatever it is that I feel like I need to have. I'm that much closer to success and fulfillment, right? Happiness is just around the corner for me. And so we have to reframe it, and we have to look at the positive side, the silver lining. But you can only get to the silver lining when you have experienced the rain and you have, you know, let it all out, right? I would never expect anybody to try to find the silver lining, because sometimes when you're going through stuff and people try to like downplay what you're going through or whatever and be like, look at the bright side. No, you need to experience the sadness. You need to experience everything that you're going through. But after that, look at the silver lining. Look at what you learned from it. Look at what other opportunities that you have, you know. Another thing is, we oftentimes worry so much about what we don't have that we don't pay attention to what we do have. And that is also blocking us as well. We have to see what we have and start taking like an inventory, like, okay, well, I might not have this, but I do have this, and I can use this, and I can move and make moves off of this one thing. And then it'll branch out into other things. We keep throwing things at the wall, seeing what sticks, and then we'll see what sticks, and then boom, we keep doing what we repeat the success. But you have to try. Sometimes we let the fear of striking out keep us from playing the game, and we can't do that. We can't do that. You gotta try. You gotta put forth one effort. And then the other thing is, like, sometimes it's too much for us to do everything all at one time, okay? So we have to chunk it down. I like to chunk things down. I can't do everything, all right? I'm not gonna do everything. I'm gonna do one more thing than I did the other day. You know, one more thing. We might not be able to do all our hair today, but we can do a little hair, we can do a little nail, okay? We might not be able to do laundry, all the laundry. We're gonna break it down. You see what I'm saying? We might not be able to clean everything, but we can clean one room and then go to another room. You see, you have to break things down into more manageable chunks so that you can get the things done that you need to do. Don't try to do everything all, and then you overwhelm, and then you end up doing nothing. Speaking from experience, if it's too much for me, if I feel like it's overwhelming, I'm not going to do it at all, right? So I have to make things, and then also make things easier for yourself. Make things pleasurable for yourself. You enjoy the thing, right? For me, I love doing my live streaming. Live streaming, when the video's done, we don't have to edit nothing. It's perfect, you know, but it's just like we have to practice a little bit. We have to, you know, be on because we're live. You see what I'm saying? Something happened, we got to just keep going. And so it's just like you manage a little different, you know what I mean? So it's just like, do the research and it's all going to come, right? And I think the other thing is like, feeling like success has an expiration date, but it doesn't. I feel like growing up, we believe that you have to be successful at a certain age. But now we're finding that people are being successful later in their ages. So in their 30s and their 40s, 50s and 60s. You see what I'm saying? So it's not just the 20s and everything like that. And then we're seeing all these other things come out in the woodwork about why people was even successful so young. But that's none of our business on today. But it's just something for us to think about, something for us to relate to, right? And so, you know, we're moving from woe is me to this is my life. I get to choose. All right, I make the decisions. You know, I'm driving this thing around, because oftentimes when we're dealing with people that can be narcissistic or just toxic environments, we believe that we only have what they are giving us, that we can only achieve what we've done so far, and that what we have achieved is based off someone else's success or whatever they did for us, you see. And that's why it's important for us to vet our relationships and make sure that we're only allowing people in our lives that really care about us. Like, if people help you and then they always talk about what they did for you, they're not good for you. You see what I'm saying? They're not good for you, and they're toxic and all this other stuff. People that are very codependent and all that, you know, that's just not good. It's just not good. And I'm not one for cutting everybody out, but it's just like, you have to, you know, see these types of, you know, traits in people, and you have to move accordingly just for your own mental well-being and different things of that nature. It's just not fair for you to have to deal with it. And nobody should ever have to put up with nothing that they don't listen. Again, this your life. You live your life for you, not for other people, not for other people to, you know, like, because people really just be peopling. You know, that's why I be by myself. But it's just like, we have to exist in a world with other people, but it's just like, you don't have to tolerate stuff. You don't have to put up with nothing. You don't have to take nobody's stuff. You see what I'm saying? If you want to show up and you want to look a certain type of way, or you want to try a different thing, try a new style, a new cut, new color, new nail, try things out. I feel like we don't try things out. I feel like we don't expand our horizons because we worried about what other people have to, like, this is your life. This is your decision. This is yours. This is all you. This is, and I feel like we have that fear because we grow up in a black household and everything like that. And we just feel like, oh, we got to ask for permission. You don't need no permission if you're paying rent. Okay. If you're paying rent, if you paying bills, if you got, what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to ask for no permission. Permission for what? No. Like my grandmother say, after you eat, the house has eaten. So that's you and your house. As for me and my house. So you have to do what's best for you. You decide how your life is going to go. And if you're lacking direction, plenty of all type of chat GPT, Claude is out, all type of stuff, internet. You can figure out a way to go. There are so many different things. In my other video, I was talking about jobs that you can do. I was looking into doing insurance, girl. And I don't even get sick like that, but it's just like there are so many different avenues for us, that we can just wake up one day and choose to be something different than what we're doing. We don't have to continue living our lives on autopilot. Okay, we don't have to experience the same things that we've been experiencing. We can go a different way. We can choose. We choose. Okay, now I know, social media, the news will tell us all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, you get to choose how your life is going to go. And I honestly believe that when you make a wholehearted choice on how you want things to go, like say you want to quit your job and all this other stuff, right? If it's that bad, I promise you God will make a way. Honestly, okay? Be responsible, right? But always put your mental well-being above everything, because you can get another job. They can't get another you, okay? In fact, they will replace you if something happens to you. They'll replace you before you even turn cold. You have to always keep that in mind. That's why I don't like them people that be bootlicking and all that other stuff, because at the end of the day, your life is your life, okay? Your life is your life, and you have to do what you have to do for you. And your mental well-being, your peace, your sanity, if the job costs that, if the relationship costs that, then it's too high. It's too high. You need to cut that down, okay? Cut it down, all right? Now, it's Friday. Got my hair done. Got my nails done. Listen. We have to speed this up a little bit. Let me know if you prefer the videos to be a little shorter, right? Because I be getting on here and I be really preaching sometimes. I really do. Look at spring break. Okay, cut me some slack. Okay, let me know. Do we need to make the videos a little shorter, a little 10-15 minute? 10-15? Okay, 20 max. Let me know. Okay, let me know. But I will be back. I might post pictures or whatever. I might post pictures for Sunday. I do have an engagement that I have to go to or whatever, so I want my hair and my nails done or whatever. But yes, let me know if we want shorter videos. Okay, shorter videos, so you can actually, because I ain't gonna lie, sometimes like, dang, I'm doing an hour Monday through Friday. They not tired of me. I'm tired of myself. Okay, I'm tired. Maybe I shouldn't go live so like long or whatever, but sometimes I really be feeling it. It be in my spirit. So let me know. Okay, but it is Friday. Okay, I'm gonna be outside. I will see you in the next video. Okay.